Hello, everyone. Today I'm chatting to another beautiful soul, Channele Amawi. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Channele is a detox and vitality coach and also a spiritual guide. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, really nice to connect. And you have been on this beautiful journey yourself, and you just actually moved more into the rural areas as well to step away from all the noise. How has that been so far, and why did you actually make that decision?
Yeah, so me and my partner, we were just feeling more and more alienated in the world that we are currently creating for ourselves as a society and as a civilization. We are feeling that the more draconian and the more strict the world is becoming, we don't really see a place for us in that kind of society. And I know that this is for us the natural step was to move ourselves out of the madness, out of the equation, and just move closer to nature and be around beautiful people and places that nurture the soul. Like personally for me, I'm in a stage where even seeing a mask feels very offensive.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to go completely out of it, but out here in the countryside in France, at least we don't have to deal with it every day. So it feels good to not have that constant reminder. We don't look at the news, so we can kind of be in a little cocoon right now.
Yes, yeah, I can so relate to what you're saying right now. So, in terms of your work, you have been doing amazing things in terms of detoxing and, as a vitality coach. And I think you also just launched a whole online program, correct?
Yes, so I built out a whole online platform to make detoxing easy and accessible. Because I think sometimes what I see in my work, because I've been working with this for over a decade now, I see that people are very confused when it comes to what they should eat, what they should not eat. And so my work is really to bring people back to their intuition and their intuitive knowledge. So in my programs, I try to break up very complex protocols and make it easy for people to understand. So it's easy to detox can be easy and fun and not something you're like it's so complex and complicated that you don't do it.
Yes. And where would be a starting point if people feel like, okay, I need to make a change in my life, right? I know that maybe I've been neglecting my health or my body. And I think especially since last year, we have the space and we have the time to dive deep and go onto that journey. And I feel personally that food is a very important part of that because we are what we eat, right? So how do you guide people in that journey, and what's your advice specifically where we're at now?
So I think we're living in a time where we can't work with consciousness and expansion and awakening without working with our diet, because they go hand in hand. So the more you awaken and um, the more you really awaken your spiritual faculties, you also become more aware that what you eat is either a poison or it's something that builds and supports your system. And the more you become aware of and also awaken to what you take into your body, it starts to really, you can't, when you're sleepwalking, my dog is walking in the background, sorry about that. When you're sleepwalking and when you're ignorant and when you're kind of just walking around on autopilot, it's very easy to just stuff yourself and do all these things that harm your body because you're not in touch with actually what that does to you and how that affects you. But the more you awaken in consciousness, the less you can do that, because you actually you feel the pain in the belly, or you feel bloated, or you feel like acid reflux, or you put on weight. Like what I see with my clients and also my own journeys, that the sensitivity gets heightened. So you will feel, even walking into a restaurant, and even if the chef that's making your food is angry or aggressive, that energy will fester in the food. And when you eat it, you can feel like the more sensitive you become, the more you feel these things.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can so relate to that again. Like previously, before my whole dive deep, my personal journey, I would not be picking up on these energies when going into a restaurant, just what you're pointing out. And now there are several places I can't walk in anymore. It's just like a no-go because the energy is just not working. And knowing then that the food or even the coffee is created there or made there, then I'm like, no, no.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty, that we can choose, and to really see that you have the choice, and be more loving and caring with yourself about what you take in, that it is high quality, it is high vibrational food, because that's what's going to build your body, and then also what's going to build your consciousness and your mind. So if that food is toxic, all of that will, everything else will fall apart. Your focus will be it will be difficult to focus. It will be difficult to have energy. You will feel fatigued. You won't have energy for life and for all the projects you're here to do.
And how, like when people are coming to you, how like you said, the spiritual awakening or growth journey is going hand in hand with food. So are people often, what do you see? Are people starting like becoming more aware of their diet and then they also experience the spiritual awakening, or is it the other way around? For me personally, it was, I think, more the other way around. As I was growing and evolving, it was easier to also just change my diet because your body is craving other things, right? What's your experience in that?
Absolutely. I think really see that they go hand in hand, that the more people awake, the more they will pay attention to their diet.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's impossible. If I would hand you some poison, say, hey, would you like some poison? You would, no, thank you. I'm good. Like, I don't want poison. And the more you understand what's in the food, and the more you educate yourself about what foods builds your body and your spirit, the less it's possible to say yes to all of the damaging stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think also the more you awaken to what's actually going on the planet, also with agriculture and what kind of toxins are sprayed on the foods, and the more we awaken in all areas of life, the less it's possible to be part of this very destructive machinery.
Yes, yes.
And
And how was that?
animal abuse also, like
Yes.
with the industrial slaughter, it's a huge thing. And we really become what we eat. So if you eat pain and suffering, you will take on that pain and suffering from the animal.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, absolutely. And for you, in terms like, is it because of your own personal journey spiritually that you got into the detoxing and were able to make those life changes?
I definitely see that they go hand in hand, that the more I have awakened in my consciousness, the better food choices I want to make. And I can also see that it's really, once if you do something bad to yourself, you can easily go into a spiral where you down spiral.
Mm-hmm.
But once you do good stuff for yourself, you just want to do more and more good stuff, and then you up spiral. Even if you start your day in a really good way, it's going to be difficult to make bad choices throughout the day. So it's all about the small choices that we make all the time. It's not about, oh, I need to change everything in a heartbeat. It's all about doing one thing that leads to another, that leads to another, that just feels good. And you just want to continue doing it because it feels good, not because someone said it to you, not because someone said this is the way to do it, not because you read it somewhere, but because you feel that, oh, this feels good for me. And that's really what I work with, is to guide people back to that inner knowing. How do you feel when you eat a pizza? Like, ask your body, did you, even before you eat, like hold the food in front of you and feel their body, do you want this pizza? Like, ask, and the body will respond. But when we are on autopilot, everything moves so fast, we don't really listen to that voice because it whispers. In the start, it whispers, and the more you listen to that inner knowing, it will be stronger and stronger, and that will be your guide. In society, we've kind of outsourced health. We outsourced health, and we go to the doctor to fix us. So we kind of outsource everyone to know better than us. So in my work, I really inspire people to tune into that inner knowing. And even if you touch in the shop, when you shop, like touch the plants, touch the orange before you buy it. Feel the prana, the life force that comes out from the plant. Ask your body, their body, do you want this? And if you see colors, if you're feeling pulled towards specific colors, it's very important to listen to that. That might be something you're missing in your diet.
Oh, that's interesting. I never heard that one before.
No, it's fun. It's fun when you go to the fruit and vegetable section in the shop. Just stand there a little bit, take a pause, and look at the colors. Take in the colors, and then ask your body, which colors do I feel pulled towards? If maybe it's yellow, maybe you need some vitamin C. Maybe it's more the darker colors. Maybe you need more antioxidants. So maybe it's the greens. So we can listen to the body in that way and really learn to let the body be the boss and communicate.
Yeah. That's so important to move from that intuition. And I think a lot of time, like just for me personally, like we can use foods or as an escaping mechanism to not feel, right? So we either overeat or we do not eat. That are the two extremes, of course. And I became very aware of that, that when I do not want to feel, I will walk to the fridge. Now I know these things, so, but before, it's just like you're programmed like that. So you're not even aware. And I think many people are still stuck in that programming that we are falling back, or either food, it can also be alcohol. There's so many escapes that we can do to not feel, right? What, like, by bringing people then back to their intuition and to their feeling, what do you normally suggest to them, or how do you work with your clients on that?
So for me, it's very important to bring fun back to food again and nutrition. It can be colorful, it can be fun, and I think so many diets and so many restrictions kind of lead to this like dread around food and a lot of eating disorders. And I think it's very important that we develop a very healthy relationship to food, that it's something that nurtures you and something we should be very grateful for, that we have access to food around us. It's not like that for everyone. Some people in the world die from hunger, and that's a fact. Just to change our relationship with foods from something that we kind of take for granted to something that we're very grateful for. I think when it comes to food, we need to look at how we relate to food. If it's something that you look upon like, I'm nurturing myself because this is what's going to build me and give me life energy and life force. Or are you eating, and while you're eating, you're thinking like, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat this. And then you're programming a lot of guilt into your body. So we need to look at how we're relating to that. And then, of course, we can use, a lot of people use, and I definitely did this for many, many years, I used food to numb down my feelings and my system. And then, so that takes us on the whole subject of really relating to our feelings. And when I was quite a lot younger, I had a eating disorder, and I would eat to just kind of, it was like this black hole that never got full. And I gained a lot of weight in a short time. And it wasn't until, and I tried every diet, like tried so many things to lose that weight, and it didn't work until I worked with my emotions. And I dropped that weight actually in 1 week. In a plant medicine retreat in Brazil with my teacher, I dropped 10 kilos because I was working with my emotions. So we can think that it's the food, and we can think that it's this and that, but actually a lot of the times it's how we are feeling inside. And I find that the better, the happier we are in our own self, and the more in love with ourselves we are, and really care for this beautiful body that we've been given, the the better choices we make for ourselves. It's very difficult to be fully in love with yourself and then poison yourself. Like those two don't go together.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's often in what I experienced as well when I was gaining the weight, because I also went through that phase that I was gaining a lot of weight just by eating and overeating. I
Mm.
also figured out that it were my emotions that I was holding on to because I was so afraid to actually feel. Well, I kept eating, but the moment that I lost a lot of weight in a span of like 2, 3 months, just because I
Mm.
started to face myself and to let go of these emotions that I was holding on to. So it's
Yeah.
actually also beautiful that you had that experience during a plant medicine retreat.
Mm.
Um,
And I
yeah.
purged. I let go so much from my childhood in that time when I was working. It was a heavy inner work where I released a lot of pain,
Mhm.
and that's how I lost the weight. It wasn't the diet, it wasn't the food. It was actually my emotions that I was holding on to into my system.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, do you want to share a bit more about your plant medicine experience or?
Sure. So it's been a big part of my journey.
Yes.
So I'm 34 now. I came to plant medicines when I was 18, and I've been working with it solidly since then. It's been a very big part of my path. So it's been I work mainly with ayahuasca, and it's definitely been one of the main paths for me and one of my main teachers.
Mhm.
And a lot of the work that I do now I would not be able to do if it wasn't for her guidance, for sure.
Yes.
Mm. But it's like it's so vast, like it's I don't know, even know where to start because it's such a big topic and it's been such a big journey for me.
Mm.
But I have a lot of teachers in Brazil and in the Amazon.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Mm.
I can, for me, the plant medicine in my journey have also been the most important teacher. And it
Mm.
was actually through the plant medicine. For me, it was Iboga, for you, it was Mother Aya. But it was
Mm.
through the plant medicine that I was able to release my childhood trauma as well and to really start to
Mm.
face it and yeah, reconnect to self, so to say. So it's beautiful that you actually went through kind of a similar journey for yourself to hear that.
It's beautiful. And I love, it's really healing so many people, the plant
Mhm.
medicines. To just watch what it's doing, from one thing is for me, but to so many people, I've seen it transform people's lives totally 100%. It's
Yes,
a
yeah,
powerful medicine.
yeah, absolutely. When used consciously, though, because what I see, at least nowadays, is that some people are also wanting or seeing it as a quick fix, and it's absolutely not, because the work is afterwards and you still need to do that yourself. So it's just a beautiful teacher to bring you within and to expand, actually, to expand your beautiful heart. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's all about the content and the container and who's guiding that. It's very
yes.
important that people who guides it really know what they do. So yeah, all of that is important. I really see the plant medicines have really exploded the last decade. And in my view, it's really because it's here to help and speed up the awakening of humanity, because
Mhm.
that process was taking too long time. So
Yes.
it's really there to support us in the awakening process.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yes, beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, I love working with the plants too.
Same, yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so much
yeah.
fun. So much
Yes,
fun.
it is. It is. Do you also use the plants in daily life in terms of microdosing, or do you normally just do the full-on journeys and retreats?
Um, Full on journeys and retreats. I
Okay.
find that once I'm in the ceremony, I download so much information that it lasts for months, lasts for
Yes.
a very long time. So I don't really need to. For me, the way that the medicine has worked is really to build me up so I'm strong enough to be able to do all the things that I do in ceremony outside of the ceremony. And to be able, like, she will take you there, she will give you glimpses of who you truly are, and she will take you home, and then she'll take you back, and then you know your way there, but then she will be like, yeah, no, now you can go yourself, you know. Yes. I guided you, now I guided you, now you know your way. So it's really about how to embody that into your day-to-day life and not separate it, because for a long time I would separate. I would be like, ceremony and then my life. But then I saw, okay, there is no separation. It's the same thing. And to not separate that, whatever you get access to in that space, you have access to it all the time. Yes. It's just a matter of actually plugging into it.
Yeah, it's the integration, like the integration phase afterwards, where we kind of going back and forwards in embodying the downloads and the beautiful information that we receive during the ceremonies, of course. Yeah. Yeah. And then you're also hosting retreats yourself, right?
Yes, we host retreats. We are I've hosted close to 100 retreats. So we had I had a retreat center in Sweden for 7 years. That we released that like last year, and then we started 2 years ago we stopped doing that, and then we started to take our retreats globally right before, like a year before COVID happened.
Okay.
And so we've been hosting retreats a lot in Bali, and in now that we're in France, we're going to host retreats here and in Spain and maybe Italy, and also in Mexico. I'm going to Mexico soon to host a retreat there. So the work is happening, but now it's happening more. We actually, because of COVID, we now have smaller groups, and we also do more intense work. So it's more around plant medicines, and it's for, in a way, for people who've been with us before, or people who already really want to work with more spiritual principles and are not afraid of going into that space.
So it's a combination. Is it a combination of the detoxing and then the plant medicine and the spiritual journey, all of it in one?
We do both. So we do retreats without medicine, and then we do retreats with medicine in those, because the thing is, detox is really, for me, the way I teach detox is multidimensional detox. So one thing is we need to look at the diet. What are you eating? That's one aspect, and is one dimension in a way. And then we can also look at, okay, what kind of habits do we need to detox? What kind of thoughts do we need to detox? What kind of patterns do we need to detox? What kind of addictive personality behaviors and traits do we need to detox? So the detox really it's multifaceted. It's never only look at the food. The food aspect is one very small part of it. It's actually all the other things that are even more important to look at. So I work with detox in a way where what you need to release in every aspect of your life. If you go through your house, let's look at the laundry room. What kind of products are there that are actually poisoning your body? If you look at what kind of soaps you use, what kind of makeup do you use, or things. I'm also a skincare therapist. So what kind of things do you use on your body? Because it takes 20 seconds from you putting something on your body until it's in the blood. The detox is so multifaceted. It's so many aspects of it.
Yes. And do you then also look at detoxing in terms of, especially now, right? No news, no social media, like really also reflecting on your relationships, and your outer world is a reflection of your inner. So it's going way beyond, like you said as well, just the food. Is that also something that's that you're working on with your clients?
Absolutely, definitely. And I think when you leap in consciousness, you see that we take, like, even what you take in is some sort of food for your system, especially for your energy body. Let's say you go to a beautiful song meditation concert and you're bathed in the sound waves. That's food for your energy system. If you have the TV on and the news on, and maybe you play music that has a specific hertz that is actually built to hurt you, and you have all this noise bombarding your system. That's also food. That's also foods for your energy body. These are also things that builds up the human, your field. And I'm looking forward until we look upon these things in more holistic approaches, that what you do, expose yourself, like that will go into your unconscious and build up your mind essentially, and your thoughts. So if you want inner peace, it's very essential to be selective and actually guard yourself. I came to a point where I just realized I actually have to treat my mind with softness. I have to protect my mind, because it does get affected. It does get affected by what you expose it to. No matter how strong you want to be and how stable and centered you want to be, if you expose yourself to a lot of negativity over time, like the news, it will start to leak into your being, and it will start to render the reality around you.
Yeah,
you have to be sensitive. And then it's the aspect also with people, that yes, we also need to look at what kind of people really want the best for us. Maybe we have to detox. It sounds kind of cruel, but we might have to detox some people from our life, and that's also part of the process, because the more the more loving you are with yourself, it becomes impossible to be around people that treat you like a garbage tray. You just it's a vibrational mismatch, so it doesn't, you wouldn't take that. It's not possible to just stick around for that forever. Like it's borders are also part of detoxing.
Yeah, absolutely. You will be very conscious in who you also will allow into your energy, because your energy is becoming sacred to you. That's what you will be learning. At least that's what I learned myself, and it's actually beautiful, because in that way you start to love yourself even more, whereas before it was easier for people to cross your boundaries in a way.
100%.
Yeah. And with everything happening in the world, right? I mean, I think both you and I, we see the world, how the world is. And that's also why we make certain decisions to move away from the cities and those type of things. Like I always tell people that it's very important to not watch the news and to stay away from certain, don't go to the shopping mall, for example, because for me, it's draining my energy. What's your experience in that? And what would you advise people? Because I think we should be connecting to nature more than ever before. And also connection to other human beings. It's so important. We need that connection.
Absolutely. And that's also, I think, why there's so many, there's an agenda behind the whole stay away from people. You can, in Norway now, you're not allowed to meet more than 2 people a day or something like that. It's like, it's silly. And I do believe that is to stop people from talking, because when people are together, we talk, we protect each other, we share about things. We heard a story about someone who took the vaccine and they got sick, and they might, you might pass that on to friends. But if you're just home and you're all you're getting is the information from the TV, that's a very one-sided, actually, manipulation of the energy system. But again, that it's the same for me. I just being more in tune with the now, what my needs are in the moment, and seeing, okay, I think there's a certain level of the population that is empaths and empathics, and they will feel more sensitive. They will be more aware of their surroundings. We will feel other people's pain, and it will be, if you are an empath, you actually have to treat it like a condition. So let's say you had a real condition, you would have to do things in your life to support yourself. If you are an empath, you have to do things in your life to support yourself. It's the same thing, because you can't just be around negativity and kind of not pay attention to it. It's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we can all tolerate. I strongly believe that it's also dangerous to become so sensitive that you are so fragile that you can't be around anyone. You know, like I've seen this happen a few times in the spiritual community that, oh no, I'm too sensitive to. I believe the spiritual process should be one where we build ourselves strong, so we tolerate more and more.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
tolerate, but at the same time you also have to understand that that doesn't mean that you have to roll around in the mud pit if you walk past one. So it's really about knowing your needs and knowing, okay, so for me, I have family members that are very toxic, they're very damaging to be around, and I know that, okay, 3 hours I can be with them, and then I need to remove myself, because for 3 hours I can be centered, I can be nice, and I can be balanced, but after that I will start to be drained.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I will start to feel like the energy is really sucked out of me. So it's important to just know, how do you function? What works for you, and what is your limits?
Yeah. Yeah. And here too, I think it's important for people also to realize it's also okay to um, not allow certain energies in your life anymore. Like for me, certain family members I do not have any contact with any longer, and that was by choice. That
Mm,
doesn't mean that maybe you still love them on some level, but I
yeah.
just can't allow that anymore, just for my own sanity and my own well-being. And I think it's beautiful, like what you're saying. I know that I can be in these surroundings for like 3 hours, but then I need to get out. I think we should all become more aware of what you say, the feeling,
Mm,
and start to listen to that.
yeah, and be okay with putting borders for yourself. You're
Mm,
not, it's nothing wrong, like you're totally allowed, it's totally valid to put borders for yourself. And
yes.
they might not understand even why you do that, but it's important that you feel that it's okay to do that. But I see this actually quite a lot in my practice, because I do a lot of one-to-one sessions with people, and I have to say I'm kind of shocked about the how some family members allow themselves to behave. It's actually a big topic about abusive family members. It's a huge thing, and it's, yeah, it's a lot of people out there who have to face this, where they are in that dilemma where it's, okay, it's family, so I should stick around, but they are abusive, what do I do? It's a quite not common thing.
Yes.
Or from friends, from old friends, can also be a
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also what I'm learning as well, working with people, is that a lot of women specifically, they don't feel that they do matter. So
Yeah,
because there is such a lack on self-love and therefore self-respect and self-care, it's so easy to cross your boundaries, because in fact you do not think you deserve better, because your pain body is so used to receive whatever you're receiving that it's so difficult to
yeah.
step out of that. Um,
Mm,
that's really,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just used to being around that, but it's all a reflection of your own internal state. So the more you love yourself, the less of that kind of behavior you can allow in your life, because the
Yeah.
distance between how you see yourself and how they see themselves becomes so big. It's just impossible to communicate in that space, because how you see yourself and how they might see you and project onto you an image that you don't relate to, it becomes like very alienated.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then I think there's this other thing where people are afraid to truly look themselves in the mirror. Like I think for the both of us, we had the beautiful plants who guided us into that. But many people, they just too afraid because they fear like that it's only becoming worse and that it's not becoming better after you let go of all these labels and boxes and these stories that are at the end of the day just a story. How would you guide people in that? Because we can only do that dive deep by looking ourselves into the eyes and embracing all aspects of self.
Yeah, I it took some time for me to get unconditioned. We are conditioned from society to not look at things, to just throw, like one of my teachers in India would say, like, just throw, like, push all the shit under the table, put a beautiful cloth on top and flowers on top, and just smile. Like, the shit is still there, and we are, from a societal aspect, conditioned to just suppress things. There's no subject in school called life. There's no subject in school called emotions and how to deal with them. We're not taught how to be human at all. And I think when I came to the Vedic teachings, which is my background also, I studied the Vedic teachings, which is the source code of the Hindu and Buddhist teachings. And when I came to that, I really found like this is like a user manual for being a human. We don't have that. We don't have, okay, if you're in pain, reach out to someone, stretch out your hand and ask for help. There's no education regarding life. And a lot of people, when they come to the plant medicines, she will use time just guiding people very softly and gently into showing you that the fast way through things is straight through, looking at it straight through it. And from societal point, we're taught to avoid it. I don't have to, if it's painful, I'll just avoid it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to go with you wherever you go. You have to look at it. It's only through looking at it and burning through that process that you are released from that pain. That's the only way to, you have to go through that, the flame. And that's the flame of truth and purification. And once that flame burns through your life becomes light again. And I see this in my practice because I also teach yoga and I work with the body and blocks in the body, and also seeing how heavy people are in their physical body. No wonder that it becomes difficult to be on earth with all these pains. It's all blocks, pain blocks. And for me, it's really also to really help and guide people to go through the pain, see what's there. Pain is information. It's trying to communicate something to you. And it's only when you go through it and you feel it that you heal it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if we don't really feel it and deal with it on energetic level, on cellular DNA level, then it will cause physical pain in our bodies. And I think there's where we are right now. People are feeling so much physically in their bodies because, well, they didn't do that dive deep, and they're still kind of afraid sometimes to do that inner work. But we are our own healers, and we can do that. But we just need to do that inner journey to go to these places.
And I love sometimes when I guide people through releasing inner blocks, it will actually be, let's say someone has a problem voicing their truth and they don't dare to speak up, and they have a problem putting borders for themselves, and they say yes when they mean no. When we work with them, they will actually have physical pain in the throat area. It will come as a physical block that then starts to move up through the system, and as the body's releasing it, it will be actually a physical pain there. So it's all connected. The pain bodies is also connected to the physical body, which is then connected to, like, it's all connected.
Yeah, absolutely. But don't you feel like what I'm seeing as well is because we are raising the frequency on Earth currently, like very fast even, like that's why all these secrets are coming to the surface on large scale within the corporation, but also in families, of course. But that's also now that people can't look away anymore and suppress, because we have been doing that for many, many years, right? Suppressing our feelings. But right now it keeps on popping up to the surface. So there is no time anymore to look to the right or to the left and think, oh, it's not there, because it will keep coming back.
Well, the awakening of humanity is being blocked on so many levels by design. They really don't want it to happen. There is forces on this earth that does not want humanity to wake up. And that's also what happened with the whole hippie movement in the 60s. That was a huge awakening that was about to burst open. And what did they do? They infiltrated that movement and they started to pour drugs that was bringing the energy down. They actually infiltrated and planted a lot of drugs into the hippie movement. And this has happened a few times on Earth when we are about to crack open and really burst open into that awakening. They don't want, there is forces that does not want that to happen, and they try to suppress us down again.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and they also, I mean, they have been doing their job very well. If you look in terms of poisoning of foods and the fluoride in the water and the toothpaste and the chemtrails in the air and so on. So it has been going on for such a long time. And I think that's also why so many people are still blinded, because they are still under the influence of mind control and manipulation.
And this is also why I became so passionate about detox, and why I actually built the virtual detox clinic, which I'm launching now 1st of May, is because I was looking, was looking at the world, and I felt also like I want to contribute. I want to do something that I want to feel I did my part, you know? And this is me doing my part. If I can show people how to cleanse their bodies, if I can show people how to detox and purify their system from all of these attacks, because the attacks are coming from, as you said, from the food, from the water, from the air. And if we can clean it out. Like nature always finds a way. That's a very important point. Nature always finds a way. If you see in Fukushima, they found that marijuana cleans up the radiation from the Fukushima incident. And the same in the Amazon, they found some years ago, they found a mushroom that eats plastic. So nature always finds a way. If we just stop messing around with nature finds a way. So even if you have polluted your body your whole life, you can still clean it out. It might take some time, but if you give it enough care and attention, and you start to feed your body cleansing herbs and foods and things that clean your body, you can clean out the poisons. Once you do that, it will be easier to maintain higher levels of consciousness. It's also been attacks on the pineal gland, which is also connected to the crown chakra. When you awaken this part, becomes almost like an antenna that opens up for consciousness from the cosmos. So if they can close this, they can also keep the human beings suppressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I find this whole process of ascension, like as we are like rising in a way. And for me, that's letting go of all the fears and limiting beliefs and the detoxing parts. Then actually the descension comes in, where we start to channel and start to download. And it comes so naturally to us because we can finally tap into all these beautiful gifts. But like you and I can do this already, but everyone can. And that's the thing. We need to that's the awareness that we are creating right now in the awakening, that everyone is as gifted to download and get access to all this knowledge.
Absolutely. And that's, again, the way that I see it is that we are in our next step of our evolutionary journey, which is to move from this more primitive life form that is very, very centered around very few struggles. Like one of the struggles, you can kind of see the struggles you can count them on one hand. One of them is fear of being rejected. It's a big one for a lot of people, for most people, fear of being rejected. If you are in that realm where you're constantly seeking for approval, you're seeking to be validated and loved, and you're not doing that yourself, you are in that level of state of survival. You're still in that primitive realm. We are seeing now that we are evolving out of these more primitive behaviors, we're evolving into the next step of the human evolutionary journey, which some call Homo luminous, or some call Homo celestial. We're moving away from human being. We're moving into Homo luminous, which is light beings.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And it's very beautiful to really connect back to that we are soul matter.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I always say that we are the magic. And I truly believe we are the magic. We are infinite beings of light. We just forgot. And the whole point of this whole human experience, it's a game that we are playing in a way. And it's like the journey of remembering who we truly are. And we are in the middle of this mass awakening, like clearing all these dense energies. Yeah. And you just said that you're gonna host a retreat quite soon in Mexico, right?
Yeah. So I'm going there, and I have never been there before. This is my first time in Mexico, but Mexico is very open right now. It's not the same as in Europe, where things locked down and closed, and Mexico is very free and open right now.
Yeah, I'm actually considering myself going to Mexico because of that reason.
There's a lot of people going there that are feeling the calling. Mexico's calling.
Yes. Can people still participate in the retreats? Or
yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely, it's still open, still room.
Okay, so I will put some information then when I post the video as well for people to find information. Are you working with local shamans over there then also for the retreats?
No, not this time. We do have a plant medicine ceremony here in South Europe. In, let's see, when is that? June.
Okay.
In June.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to feel the calling for that, they can reach out to me and we can have a chat.
Yes. I will put all information underneath. Is there anything else, because we're almost through the hour, is there anything else you would like to share with the people watching this?
Just use this time in the best possible way. We are cocooned right now, and to really use that time to sow your seeds for the future, plan the future, and visualize the best outcome for all of us, so that we can step into the next chapter of our journey here on earth. Really visualize freedom for humanity, and let's all do our part to stay out of the negativity and stay out of the fear. Like, you do your part. And this is something the plant medicine told me last time I was in the ceremony. She said that the best thing everyone does now is to really clear out their own family karma, their own family lineage. If you do that, you're contributing to the awakening. If you clear out, do your inner work, this is the time to really throw out what you don't want to bring into the new time, the new timeline. The new timeline is really anchoring down now. So the more of us who embody beauty, love, and lightness and happiness and joy, the easier it will be for these new energies to come into the world. Stay away from the TV, stay away from the news, and connect deeper to nature.
Yes, yeah, beautiful. And how can we find you online, or how can we support you?
Yeah, so I have, my website is activatedangel.com.
Okay.
That's where you will find everything that I do, from the virtual detox clinic, which is not launched yet. It launches 1st of May. You can see the different cleanses that will come there. And then I have my oracle guidance. I also work as an oracle channel. I channel messages. I also channel a book that's coming out very soon. And there I also have retreats, and everything that I do is on that platform. So activatedangel.com. And I'm also on Instagram, so I can send you I try to spread consciousness through social media in my posts. And
yes. Okay, I will put all links underneath so that people can find you. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely connecting and chatting.
Thank you, and thank you for the beautiful work that you do.
Thank
This is
you.
beautiful, beautiful work.